So I really wasn't planning on making a video about the Vancouver Canucks and the Seattle Kraken 3 hours before the Canucks and the Kraken game, but there were some topics that did pop up and I was like, hey, that's not really that bad to talk about, so let's go out there and explore these types of conversations here. Before we get into that though, I did want to say that the plan for today appears to be that actually we'll be able to watch the game. It doesn't look like the community center hockey is going to be going on today, so I think I could be free for the evening, thus giving me an opportunity to actually watch what happens in today's preseason game. And based off of the rosters, it does appear to be a game that I actually do think has a lot of value in it. There was a picture leaked of, not even leaked, but like just a picture published of both of the teams' rosters that will be iced tonight on September 29th. The Vancouver Canucks will have Silovs, Demko, and Giuseppe. Actually, no, this is listed in the order of number. That's why it's so weird. Either way, let's go over and look at some of the names that the Canucks will ice. Rathbone to Kaiser Pullman. Okay, you can see the 3D starting things out. It's going to be interesting to see how good Tucker Pullman is after all this time. Lockwood, Garland, Miller, Dries, Höglander round out the next 5 forwards, so that's going to be cool to see. First action right here for the preseason for JT Miller after signing that big contract extension. Garland was pretty good last time. Höglander, apparently he was pretty alright in Calgary, so we'll see how he's able to do on home ice. Oliver Ekman-Larsson is here alongside of Phil DiGiuseppe and Elias Pettersson, so nothing really shocking there. Quinn Hughes is here too, not to mention Kyle Burrows, Noah Juleson, Pearson, Dakota Joshua, Christian Wolanin, who is going to be playing, so interesting to see Wolanin into the lineup. Niels Ahmann is one of the only non-NHL guys that we've seen so far on this roster right here. Same could be said about Linus Karlsson. Then you also have Podkolzin and Kuzmenko over here too. Pretty good roster, if I do say so myself. For me, though, of course, I'm going to be paying attention to some of the other guys on the other side. Martin Jones, I want to see how he's able to do for the Kraken. Cale Fleury, I like him a lot, so it's going to be cool to see him suit up for Seattle. Alexander True is a name that did stand out earlier from his days in the Shark system, I believe. You also have yourselves a few other guys. Riker Evans, Shane Wright, of course. Wright, yeah, I mean, he's going to be demanding a lot of attention because 4th overall pick, right? Then you also have yourselves Morgan Geekie, Cole Lind, a few other guys that I do think are interesting to note from the Seattle POV. It's going to be a pretty good game, I feel, just from an analysis point of view, looking at the guys and trying to see what works, what sticks. I really, really want to pay attention to Shane Wright, just because I am kind of interested in making a video about the comparisons and the attitudes between Wright and Slafkovsky from the fan bases that they're a part of. But either way, what I also wanted to talk about today was Ilya Mikheyev and go over an update about him that really did feel bad for the few minutes that it was out. Because, last time we talked about Ilya Mikheyev, we said, yeah, it's day-to-day. And that's good, because day-to-day gives him a realistic opportunity at coming back sometime in the next few days during the preseason and not missing out on the 82 NHL games. Plus, when he fell in the Calgary game, it looked like he kind of landed on his arm in a way, and we know Mikheyev is a speedster, so as long as his skating, his knees, his mobility, his legs are not affected, then that's pretty good. All things considered. Obviously, it's not good that you get injured, but just from the optics of it, from the Calgary game, it looked like Mikheyev had some sort of an arm thing and he would have been out day to day. Well, that's not the update we had anymore, because earlier in the week we had ourselves word that Mikheyev was now week to week with a lower body injury instead of day to day with an upper body injury. And a lot of people were starting to say, wait a minute, what the hell's happening here? Eventually, we had ourselves a big scare, because Frank Seravalli made an appearance on the Halford and Bruff show earlier today on Sportsnet, and he told the show that there's concern Mikheyev has a torn ACL. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty bad. Only Canucks luck that the guy who's built off of speed gets a torn ACL in the first game of the preseason, and he doesn't really have any opportunity to showcase his value with Vancouver elsewhere throughout the season. But yeah, it was all doom and gloom after Frank Seravalli said that on air and Jason Bruff tweeted about it, so yeah, experienced Canucks hockey, eh? This is what happens. Year in, year out, get used to it. However, that actually is something that I don't think applies all too much anymore because we had a few follow-up tweets that I do think are important to note. An hour after the Jason Bruff tweet, we had Irfan Gaffar who tweeted this: "I'm told that Ilya Mikheyev's injury is not considered long-term. No issues in the gym, and he's walking fine. The expectation is for him to hit the ice in the next day or so and resume skating." Now, that is way different from a torn ACL. And, I mean, Irfan Gaffar, he works for the Fourth Period. He used to work for Sportsnet, so he does kind of have connections here in the Vancouver area. And we also had ourselves another tweet from Rick Dhaliwal. Ilya Mikheyev had two opinions on the injury that he had. It's nothing too concerning, and he could skate tomorrow. Dhaliwal ends up saying a similar thing to Irfan Gaffar, where it's like, yeah, he's not hurt that bad, he's not too banged up, he could start skating again tomorrow, and a lot of Canucks Nation just went out there and breathed a huge sigh of relief because, yeah, torn ACL versus skating tomorrow and not being too serious. One of them is a lot better than the others. And I guess, if I had to make a prediction here, not even prediction, but just like, try to analyze what happened, it appears that since Mikheyev did get 2 reports on his injury status, maybe Frank Seravalli just heard the conclusion from one of those healthcare professionals. Maybe one of them was like, oh, this is really bad, it could be an ACL tear, and then Mikheyev went to a second person for an opinion, and then they were like, oh, no, it's not that bad, like, you can just skate tomorrow, like, you'll be fine. So maybe there was some sort of a conflicting report on the doctor's side, which is why there were 2 opinions given in the first place, and maybe Frank Seravalli just happened to get word of one of these results, but either way, I mean, Ilya Mikheyev, it's going to be pretty difficult to go out there and say that the team can replace that sort of speed and scoring ability and penalty killing ability because, I mean, Mikheyev is an important player. There's a reason he was given a pretty good amount of money, and there's a reason why Toronto Maple Leafs fans were kind of hesitant to let him go. Of course, you know, they have their own salary cap situation, which is why they were able to do that, but either way, the Vancouver Canucks almost got themselves a huge scare that put them in a position where it was like, yeah, no, it's all doom and gloom here in Vancouver once again. Our main guy, a top 6 guy that we signed in the offseason to be a pretty good player with Pettersson, yeah, he's out for a while. Hopefully that's not the case, and hopefully things stick around for Vancouver in the short term. But either way, we'll make another video later tonight talking about the Canucks and the Kraken, what happens in that game, and all the opinions, thoughts, and reflections on what we had seen. I actually am pretty interested in watching this full game of Canucks hockey. Hopefully there isn't anything else that pops up on my schedule and I have to leave the house or whatever and be back at like 9 to make a video about it then, because I really do want to watch it. Shane Wright, man. I want to watch the Shane Wright-Slafkovsky battle. And yeah, games like these could be good homework sessions for that. But either way, tell to the comments all your thoughts about the Vancouver Canucks, Eli McCabe, the injury scare that we had, and all your opinions on the team heading into the Seattle game. We'll make another video, as I said, talking about everything that transpires. But tell to the comments either way. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.